Hello, and welcome to Friday Afternoon on Bad Dog Comedy TV, live on YouTube, and Stories with B. Now please welcome your host, B. Bertrand.
Hi, friends. I hope you're having a nice day today. Welcome back to another episode of Stories with B. Oh, there's Bandit in the background. I hope you're having a nice day. Today is actually the season finale of Stories with B. I have completely lost track of time, but this is a lovely show. This whole concept actually got started at the beginning of quarantine. I was feeling a little sad and kind of lost a bit, and I didn't really know what to do with all of my feelings. And so one day I felt I have all of the kids' books that I had growing up, and I thought maybe a gentle, wholesome thing to do would be to read a bedtime story and put it on Facebook. And then I did that, and then I had a couple of nights of that, and then it turned into this kind of lovely community of people tuning in for something, to hear something nice. And then my friend Coco messaged me, and she is the queen of comedy and improv and Bad Dog and just the most lovely person, and offered me this weekly show, and we've been going with it. Again, I feel like I've completely lost track of time, but it's been months and months, and it has been the best part of my week. And each week I have a special friend on, and we just chat, and it is the most lovely time. I call it cutest little talk show. And this week, please welcome my most special friend who I love so much and I'm so excited about, Coco Galore.
Hi.
Hi, friend. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I see you have your special drink. So I'm going to start off the episode how I always do. I say hello to everyone and to you, and I hope everyone is having a nice day today. Coco, happy birthday, Boxing Day. Hope you're having a nice day today. And I hope you're safe and warm and cozy, and you and everyone have all your special things. Hope you have your special drink, bud. There you go. Thanks for being on this. I'm so excited.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like there's so much to say. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to you for this whole lovely experience. And we're going to take a quick little break for a bit, but this last like 4, 5, I don't even know how many months it's been.
6
months. What?
Yeah. We started in June.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we did. Mm-hmm. It's been such a lovely experience, and I'm so happy to wrap this up right now with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I love this show.
Stop it. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess I'll start by asking you, when you were young, did you have like a relationship with storybooks?
Not like in the traditional sense of, not that I can remember of the traditional sense of like my parents reading to me, simply because I had a very nomadic childhood. Like we moved around a lot. And so we didn't do that. I don't remember doing that. I don't remember being able to like really like, my memories of books is like not until I'm like 8 or 9.
That's fair. Do you remember what kind of books you were into when you started reading and stuff at 8 or 9? Started reading more books?
I would say that I was probably reading French books. And then my memory of books is always Sweet Valley. It's just so funny.
Like I loved Sweet Valley.
Yeah, because I just remember, like, I'm sure I read things before that. I just can't remember them because, of course, I can read. But I just remember, in the summers. This is before, like, you know, now they have like these extravagant summer camps. We didn't have that back then. So I used to have to go to summer school just to learn English. Mom was like, okay, that's enough, because I went to French school. So she would be like, okay, that's enough. We need you to speak the language that the rest of the city speaks. So in the summer, I would get sent to this school and just have half-day school. And it was just in English. It was free. It was like part of like the general programs and stuff. But I just remember I used to go to the library and just pick up stacks of like Sweet Valley Babysitters Club, and that's part of like how I learned English and stuff. And of course, you're reading in your head, and I would just read names wrong. Like I didn't know that Lily was Lily. I would read it Lily.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So till this day, like when I read a foreign word, like if I don't know it, my instinct is to read it in French first.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Toronto. Like afterwards, we grew up here. But before that, I was in Côte d'Ivoire, which is a French-speaking country in Africa. And I also grew up in Hong Kong.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And ironically, I was born in England, so I should speak English really well and know the language through and through. But yeah, but that happened like way later.
That's wild. So were you kind of, I don't know if it was completely like you going through and like reading Sweet Valley High and those books, but were you kind of like on your own helping teaching yourself how to read English?
Well, yeah, because I went to a French school, and so you learn English like through like class and stuff. It took me a while. It took me a while to understand because I went to school in French and we spoke Cantonese at home. So it was a lot of language confusion for the first little bit. And then I just started reading in English. And that's how I kind of like crossed over to being like, oh, okay. I think I can do this language now.
That's so interesting. How many languages do you speak?
Just those three. Just those three.
Just those three.
Just those three. I can read a bit of Korean from living there, but that's about it.
That's so cool. I know that I bombarded you with this today, but just so people watching can know, did you have a favorite book when you were growing up? Right.
So I didn't. I didn't. And I remember when you asked me to do the show, I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? But I wanted to be on it, so I just said yes. So I was like, well, I'll have to deal with that later. But yeah, so I remember in grade 7, we read this book. Oh, actually, come to think of it, we did read an English book when I was in grade 5, Charlotte's Web. I just remembered that. Like
I love Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, the memory just hit me. But I didn't understand it. Do you know that? Like, I read it then, I had no idea what was going on. And then even though we were reading it like week by week slowly, because it was a French school, not a French immersion, like everybody was Francophone. And so they assumed that you don't really speak English. So we had to read the book chapter by chapter really slowly. I had no idea what was going on. I did not know what the book was about until I got older and reread it. And I was like, oh, this is a good book.
Do you think that people reading along with you were like, everyone was kind of like, should we pretend we know what's going on? Or like, did anyone kind of... Well, yeah, like it seems like that'd be a wild thing to be like, okay, everyone's super young. Let's just blow through this book. And like, I'm sure it wasn't just you. That's such a wild thing.
Who knows? But my impression was always that, because I was like one of the only immigrants in my class. So my impression was that everybody spoke English somewhere secretly. And I was the only one that was like, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. And then my French was like also slightly different because, I come from Ivory Coast, which is an African country. So I had like more of a France and, Ivoirien type of like French background. It's funny because Daphne, my comedy partner, she's from Montreal, and her friends and family came and they heard me speak French and they're like, oh, your accent's so cute. But anyway, back to your original question, which is like, did I have a favorite book? It was a book that like I kind of liked when I was younger, and then I kept rereading it. You don't really realize how much you love the book. And it was a book that as I kept rereading it, I kept learning different lessons. So then eventually it became my favorite book. And it's actually one of my favorite books of all time, period. Like I always have a French and an English copy, and I have it, and I'll show you. It's called Le Petit Prince, The Little Prince.
The Little Prince.
The Little Prince. So I have a French and English version. You know what? I had an English version that looked like this, and someone took it. So I now have this, which is fine. This is like a color version. But yeah, this is one of my favorite books of all time.
That's awesome. I feel like that book is such a classic, but when you told me that it was one of your favorite books, I realized that I didn't have it, and I was so desperate to get it because I just wanted, I mean, I know you're so lovely and you'd be happy regardless, but I just wanted to like just have this lovely, oh, hey, that's crazy that you love this book, because guess what? And then I exhausted so many venues trying to get this book, and I couldn't. And then my girlfriend messaged me and she was like, I have it. And I was like, yes, I'm going to come pick it up. And she was like, but it's in Spanish. And I was like, no. So I'm going to get this book because I realized, though, when I was kind of looking through the internet, I don't think I've ever read it.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? That doesn't actually surprise me. A lot of people who have read, I feel like this is mandatory French reading. It's not mandatory English reading. And I used to teach and I used to make them read it. And half of them were like, I don't know this book. I love this book. But the reality is that this book is like written to give adult lessons. Like they're lessons for adults. And so when you're reading it as a kid, you're like, oh, cool. He goes to other planets. But then as an adult, you're like, oh, okay. Like don't abuse substances and don't be greedy and don't, like, you know what I mean? Like that's how,
yeah,
it's very fascinating. I love this book. But
yeah.
my favorite, like one of my favorite quotes and like something I kind of live by is from this book, which is like, I don't know the English version, but the translation is basically like, the most important things are like invisible to the eye. The essentials are invisible to the eye.
I love that. When I was
Yeah.
looking through just the internet today, trying to find whatever I could and PDF versions and stuff, there's so many quotes that are like so wonderful and like deep
Yeah.
from this book. I
Yeah.
can't wait to read it.
And it teaches you like about love and friendship, and not in a way like, oh, we have to forgive, or like not like that. Like he becomes friends with a fox, and the fox tells him, we can be friends if you tame me. And you're like, what? What does that mean? But it's the idea of like forming consistency and routines with someone in order to build like a trust, a rapport, and friendship. And it's like, no one talks about friendship like that, really. You know what I mean? I feel like English people are very, like English speakers in the English speaking world is much more focused on like, you have to be kind, you have to be giving, blah, blah, blah. But this one's just like, you need to be consistent.
Yeah, and that's really important too.
Yeah.
It's so lovely. What kind of books and stories and things do you like reading now? Is it kind of the same things with lovely messages and lessons and stuff? Have you?
Oh yeah, I love, like, so I have a philosophy and sociology background, so that's all I look for is messages. I'm like, what's the lesson here? I rarely read just for like, be like, oh, what a cool story. I rarely read for that. Now I tend to read more like not self-help, but like, I guess like sociological type of books, which are way more popular now than they were when I started reading them. Like when I started reading them, I had to like hunt for them. And now they're like on bestsellers lists, which is really amazing. like books about race, books about, you
Yeah.
know, gender, sexuality, stuff like that. So I tend to read things like that. And in terms of fiction, I don't think I've read like a fiction book in a while. I will say that once in a while I'll read a Daniel Steele book.
I love that.
Once in a while I'm like, okay, let's go there.
I used to buy, when I was young, I used to buy my grandma a Danielle Steele book every year for Christmas, and then a couple of times I read them. They're spicy meatballs.
They are, but I read this one that was so good, like maybe like 2 years ago, called The Duchess, and it was about someone who was rightfully supposed to be the Duchess, but the spot was taken from her, and it wasn't Daniel Steele's. Well, we know she doesn't really write them, but it wasn't her usual bag of tricks. Like she falls in love and someone's rescue her. Like this person ends up owning a home where she takes care of sex workers. Like she ends up housing. Yeah, it's
very progressive.
Very progressive, but it's set like 100 years ago or more. And so she ends up getting like her, I guess, like her inheritance, and that's what she does with it. And you're like, and there's no like love interest or man to come like even though they want her to, like they keep like asking her to get married and stuff, she's like, I'm just gonna be here and I'm just gonna take care of my girls, okay? And it's like, I was like, wow, I think I read that like in one night.
Wow. Way to go, Danielle Steele.
Once in a while I do that. Once in a while I'm like, I need to finish this book now.
Well, I'll have to check that one out. That sounds like a good little Danielle Steele nugget.
Yeah. I think it was called The Duchess or The Last Duchess, one of those.
Sweet. Coco, I knew this was going to happen with you. I feel like we need so much longer to chat, but I feel like we have to bring our lovely time together to a close.
Oh, that's so good. I'm going to go take a nap like a baby.
You're a little sleepy baby?
A little sleepy baby.
You just needed a little snack and a little special drink, and now you can go have a nap?
Yeah, now I can go back to my nap.
Well, it wouldn't be Stories with B unless I said something super over emotional and weepy at you. So,
and it's funny because I'm not like that. So I will receive it.
You can receive it however you'd like to, with absolutely no pressure to respond, with acknowledging that I'm the one making it weird. But I just had to acknowledge that I just love and appreciate you so much. And before I met you and became friends with you, I knew who you were and I was such a fan. And then we started doing shows together with you and Daphne. And I was so nervous, and not because you made me feel anything less than valid and funny and like seen, because I just love and respect you so much. And the fact, oh man, when, oh my God, when you came to ask me about doing the show, I was kind of spirally and I didn't know what to do. And I was really sad. And you just were like, what do you want to do? I think you are worth it. Let's figure something out. And you let me do whatever I wanted to do. And each week you just supported me. And then there came a point where you were like, I just trust you. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to worry about you because I love you and I trust you. And that meant everything to me. So I love and appreciate you. And I'm so proud of you. And I thank you for doing the show. And now I'm going to say my special goodbye, and that I hope you have a nice day today. And you did your best, and your best is more than good enough. And I'm really proud of you, and I appreciate you, and I love you. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Those are
Coco.
such kind words. I love you so much.
I think you are the best, and I look forward to reading 10 episodes of The Little Prince, because it is a very long book, but I'm going to do it all for you once I get my hands on it.
We're going to do a whole season of just Little Prince.
I was telling Sean, our amazing tech, that I feel selfish in my pick for the book that I wanted to read this week. Sorry, my nose rings. I keep fiddling. But after searching to try and find something like The Little Prince and realizing I don't really have anything, in my heart, this was the right decision. But saying it out loud, it feels very selfish. But I just chose my favorite book.
I love it. I love it, because what will happen is that we're going to read your favorite book today. And then for the rest of the time, we're reading my favorite book. Okay, I'm going to go and let you read your favorite book. Okay, thank you
I love
so
you,
much.
Coco.
I love you.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good nap. Bye, friends. Bye, friend. Well, buckle up, because we're going to get into my favorite book, which is Leo the Late Bloomer. I love this book so much, and I feel like I may have read it before, but there's new intent this time in reading it to you, and it is with all the love in my heart in reading you, my most special thing, and I hope that you are having a lovely day and that you feel special. Let's get into it. This has a great message too. All right, friends. Sorry for always filling with my nose rings. There's so many and they keep coming out. All right. Oh, this... I always forget it's this mirrored thing. All right. Look how cute Leo is. He's just a little late bloomer. I was too. A little anxious guy. Leo couldn't do anything right. I don't think that's true. He couldn't read. He couldn't write. He couldn't draw. That's okay, Leo. He was a sloppy eater, and he never said a word. And then all these little guys are saying hoot, thrump, hiss, pip. Little bird saying pip, and crunch. What's the matter with Leo? Asked Leo's father. Nothing, said Leo's mother. Leo is just a late bloomer. Better late than never, thought Leo's father. That's true, Papa. Every day, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. And every night, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. Are you sure Leo's a bloomer? Asked Leo's father. Patience, said Leo's mother. A watched bloomer doesn't bloom. So Leo's father watched television instead of Leo. Except when he's peeking around that chair. The snows came. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. The trees budded. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. Then one day, in his own good time, Leo bloomed. He could read, he could write, he could draw, he ate neatly. Oh, little angel face. He also spoke, and it wasn't just a word, it was a whole sentence, and that sentence was, I made it. It's the best part. Good job, Leo. I hope you like Leo the Late Bloomer, friends. I feel like when I was young, I was always kind of attracted to the books where there was a little character who was maybe anxious and didn't really fit in. And it's always nice to see a little redemption story where they kind of find their way. Thanks for hanging out with me again, friends. This is the season finale, but we're going to be back. But thank you so much for hanging out all these weeks. And even if this is your first time, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate you. If you're able to, there's a link below. If you've had fun hanging out with us and watching all of these episodes over the last 6 months, if you're able to, please consider donating. Everyone works so hard at Bad Dog. We have Sean, my amazing tech, and he's the tech for all the shows, and he's just the best. I don't know what I would do without him. The requests that I throw at him, and he is just so lovely and on top of things and just the best person. Coco, who is my special friend today and also just the most wonderful person. They just put out the most important content, and there's Black folks that are on doing their best and doing their shows, and there's all sorts of minorities doing their best and having wonderful shows every week. There's queer folks, there's trans folks. Bad Dog just really takes care of us and wants you to see everybody shine. So if you're able to, it would be really lovely if you could please donate. Make sure you wear your masks and you drink your water. And I hope you have a really great day today, friends. You did your best, and your best is more than good enough. I'm really proud of you. I appreciate you, and I love you. And Sean, I love you so much. Thank you so much for everything. You are just the best. Coco, thanks for being on the show, and I love you so much. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful week and wonderful holidays, and I'll see you soon, friends. Good night.